Good morning, fellow Hebrew Israelites, my subscribers, and anyone passing through. I haven't been online lately, and you have to excuse me for that. Excuse me. I have been online. I haven't made any videos in a while. I've been called away to read the New Testament. I just started reading the New Testament. I've been reading and writing and working on that. But what inspired me to make this video is that history repeats itself. A person's body over time will grow old and it will dissolve. Lies will always have the truth, the light of truth shining upon them. But when I say history repeats itself, this is what I mean. I can see Martin Luther King and Justin Pearson. I can see Adam Clayton Powell and Justin Jones. I can see Thurgood Marshall and Ben Crump. I can see Booker T. Washington and Professor Rashad Ritchie of Indisputable. You see, the body may die, but the spirit always lives on. Always lives on. But what really inspired me to make this post was, during Martin Luther King holiday, these young ladies were talking about Martin Luther King. And they said, I don't trust Martin Luther King, or I don't believe that we should celebrate him because they said that he cheated on his wife. Now, do they have any proof of this? No. No. But these were young black women. And what I want to make sure people understand is this. As black people, we cannot afford the luxury of putting each other down without research and investigation to prove without a shadow of a doubt that this person who you can presume to be helping you isn't doing as such. You have to do the research and investigation before you make these silly assumptions. Because when you make these silly assumptions, you're doing the work of your enemies if you are wrong. And we can't afford to put each other down. As the saying goes, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Don't be the friend of your enemy. Do the research and study. Excuse me. And going back, a couple weeks ago, I heard a person posted that they didn't trust Ben Crump because they said all he is an attention seeker. They obviously did not do the research or the investigation to legitimize their conclusion. It made no sense. Ben Crump is not out there seeking attention for himself. He is seeking moral attention to the situation, to wake people up to the reality of what is going on. And see, when you wake people up to the reality of what's going on, and you touch their sense of morality, evil has to readjust its strategy and bag up, just like they did in the case of Justin Jones, who reminds me of the spirit of Adam Clayton Powell, and Justin Pearson, who reminds me of Martin Luther King. Now, this is the kicker. A person, a YouTuber, who calls himself Dr. Phil at times, who at one time, every now and then he says something, he goes off on the deep edge, and he talks as if he's Jesus Christ or something, and he knows everything. He accused Justin Pearson of shucking and jiving. The most ridiculous thing I ever heard in my life. He obviously has not heard Justin Pearson speak. Because when he speaks, you know what he stands for. And what Justin Pearson did with Justin Jones, with the support of the people, exposed the Tennessee State Senate. But one thing I want to say, but I'm going to back up off that. There's one thing I want to say. If you're going to put down a black leader, ask yourself, what have I done that justifies my putting this person down? What have I done to improve the situation? And if you haven't done anything, if you are not trying to do anything, then with all due respect, shut the hell up. Shut the hell up. It's better to be thought a fool than to open your mouth and prove yourself a fool. Let me read you something real quick. Ignorance is quick to criticize, last to understand. Ignorance doesn't try to understand. It assumes to know all and takes pride in defending the nothing of substance it creates. Let me explain something to you, Dr. Phil, or whatever you want to call yourself. I was raised in a holiness church, and people shouted, danced to give praise and glory to God, and because they loved God. And what you were calling chucking and jiving is something that black people have done for years and years and years to build up their faith in God, to take on the evils of society. So, and the way what is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? And what have you done that exceeds the hope that Justin Pearson is giving people? What have you done to exceed the faith of hope that Justin Pearson has given people? The only thing you're trying to do is sell trips to Uganda to make money. That's all you're doing. So you need to back up there, my brother. You need to back the hell up. We cannot afford the luxury of putting each other down without research, investigation to prove without a shadow of a doubt our conclusions are correct. Now, You didn't talk about any of his speeches. Nothing he said in his speech. You just felt that he was putting on this performance. I mean, you sitting back there with these, with all due respect, with these goofy pictures behind you, dressed up like a pharaoh. I mean, come on, man. You need to snap out of this. And I'm using you as an example because someone else even posted, because you have what, a bunch of people agreeing with you. People, before you agree with anybody, do your own research. Think for yourself. And I tell people all the time, if you don't believe everything I say, research it. Research it. But most importantly, we cannot afford the luxury of putting each other down without research investigation to prove without a shadow of a doubt our conclusions are correct. And then, if you can't, and if you're not going to do the research, you know what? If you're not doing the research to prove it, then you're obviously not doing anything to better the situation that we are in as African Americans, or should I say Hebrew Israelites. And I'll go on to say this. If you go into a Christian church and you're calling yourself a Christian, then you haven't even done the research to find out who in God's name you are. Deuteronomy 2:9, Deuteronomy 3:9 states that the people in Israel are usurpers and they worship in the synagogue of Satan. So if you at least read that, you have to ask yourself, well, who are the Hebrew Israelites? And then you read Deuteronomy 28, and it tells you that. But whether you call yourself Hebrew Israelite or Christian or whatever, Jesus said his father and mother, his mother and brother are those who believe in God. So it really doesn't even make, so whether you call yourself a Hebrew Israelite or black Christian or not is really inconsequential as long as you believe in God. But the main thing I want to make is this. The main point I want to make is this. Ignorance is quick to criticize, last to understand. Ignorance doesn't try to understand. It assumes to know all and take pride in the nothing of substance it creates. The second point I want to make. History repeats itself. The religious leaders you see today are the reflections of the religious leaders, social workers of yesterday. History is repeating itself. So with that, I'm going to end here. But like I say, my major point is the leaders that we see today are a reflection of the leaders of yesterday. Don't put down the people that are trying to help you. And to those leaders and the people that are working hard, don't give up, because the same people that crucified Jesus were the same people that Jesus was trying to help. Do God's work, keep your faith, and we'll get there, people. We'll get there. God bless you all. Have a great day. Oh, like and subscribe, and I guess I'll be back posting. I guess I'll be back making videos again. C'est la vie.